Welcome back to Ice Sheffield for the British Figure Skating Championships of 2019. In this section, we are focusing on the final athletes of the day. So we've got our final 6 junior ladies. What can we hope to see from these guys?
Well, this is the obviously the top 6 from yesterday. So we should see the highest and the strongest technical elements. And with it being so close between certainly the first 3, it's really important. Every mark counts here, regardless of what it is. So you need to keep fighting from start to end, making sure you're picking up the odd point here or there on just the elements. You can maybe get a single loop on the end of something just to try and pick up the extra points. Because when you look at the skaters and look at their season's best in the free programs, it's so close still between all the top 6. And it's again who about keeps the nerve today and puts down that performance.
So what could these skaters do to grab those extra little points?
Little things like, instead of just a 2-jump combination, making it a 3-jump combination. Just the more difficult elements, going for the Lutz flip, the triple elements, and just again picking up points where you can. It's not just about the difficulty level that you're doing, but also about the quality of which elements you do. So what they'll want to do is strong entrances to everything, maybe difficult entries. You might see some interesting elements into spins, into jumps, and things like that will all add up. Just trying to increase that grade of execution from the judges, whilst attaining the highest level in all your spins and steps as well.
So that grade of execution, that's the base score and the plus or minus. And
you can go plus or minus on that, which the judges will decide on the quality of the elements you perform. So you have a +5, -5 sort of barrier where the judges will grade you on that. So on an individual element, it can add up quite a few points, and then you take that over all 11 elements that the ladies will be doing today. Can add up to quite a big difference from the base value to the achieved score.
So is the base value for each element slightly different, or is the base value always the same?
Slightly different for each element. So in terms of grade of difficulty for the jump elements, it will go the toe jump, then the salchow, loop, flip, Lutz, and then the axel jump being the hardest of that category. So as it goes up, each element is worth a little bit more, and then so you will have to balance it out, and maybe the bit tactically a decision with your coaches to go maybe play it safe but try and get the positive GOE. Because if you're maybe hitting a jump 50% of the time, or even only 40% of the time, you might go, right, well, what we will do, we'll replace that with a jump which 99% of the time is going to be bang on, but what we can do is increase the grade of execution to make up that gap. So that will be the discussion between the skaters and the coaches and what route they want to go down. And
some skaters will be they'll respond to the competition with the adrenaline, where they might hit that 40% jump more likely in a competition than they maybe would in training.
Exactly. There's a lot of times in the past where, so I can only speak for myself, where I've been so close to getting a jump in training, and then with that added level of adrenaline, that little bit of extra oomph, you can land it often for the first time in competition. It's not an ideal time to do it, because it can sometimes throw the rest of your performance. However, whenever you do something like that, get that extra spur on, can then motivate you for the rest of the program and carry you through. So these guys, it depends on their bravery level if they want to go for an element which they're not hitting, at a good percentile. So it can be quite interesting when you get into the higher levels, especially when there's medals at stake.
Especially if you haven't landed a jump before, and then you get it in the competition, you're so surprised that you're like, oh, what am I doing next?
Especially at the British Championships. By that point, you've gone through the whole season, and it's very rare that you'll hit something. But if we think back to last year, and talking about the senior men, with Harry Mattick landed his quad toe for the first time in the short program there, the first time in competition really. So something like that was a risk for him putting it in, but the reward for him, it paid off, and which was great to see. So something like that today, someone landing something which for them might be a little bit of a risk, that would be great to see today, because we all want to see people doing the highest levels possible, but we also want to see nice, clean, smooth programs with skaters landing all their elements. So it's quite a fine balance whether to go for the harder technical elements, play it safer, and go for the grade of execution.
And we want to see skaters finish their program smiling and feeling like they've done the best that they could as well.
Absolutely. You don't want to ever come off the ice feeling you could have done better. However, with the high pressure situation like this, it's not always the case. But what we do want to see is, as you say, everyone coming off with a smile on their face.
So Molly currently is the only person to be getting above 100 points in her total score. Are we expecting most of these guys to be able to?
Yeah, everyone's season's best. Everyone's season's best in this top group is over 100 points. I believe our leader's on 112, so that's going to, that's a good score. That's going to stand her really well. The chance of touching the podium and things like that. So in terms of season's best for these, she did really well.
Yeah, Molly skated excellently. So our first skater up. So our first skater up is Avery Wieczorek, and she is skating in her home rink of Ice Sheffield.
Double axel to open. Singles out on that double axel attempt.
Thank you, Avery.
It's a nice performance from Avery. Maybe a little bit, as we discussed, there was some chopping and changing from the planned programme content. There was a triple salchow planned early on, switched that out for the double Lutz. With the beard sort of within 2 points of a podium place, maybe that was something that factored in that decision. Thought maybe go along the playing it safe mark, going for the GOEs. Other than that, just singled out on the second double axle attempt. Other than that, everything seemed spot on. Levels on the spins and steps and everything. She's a nice strong skater. And again, what I'd like to see from her next, this is her first British, so just pushing on, increasing the technical value, and just getting more comfortable in the environment of a national championships as well. On all this experience she'll gain this week will help her going forward.
Because Avery trains both in the UK and the USA, and spends a lot of time travelling, which while being at school must be, extremely challenging.
Massively so.
One of the things I liked about Avery's performance is the choices of music. I don't know if this was deliberate or not. I suspect it probably was. That her short programme was Summertime, was the music, and this one was the Winter Suite
for the
of the 4 seasons, which I really liked, and that contrast was really nice in her performances.
Well, she put in 2 solid performances, both very enjoyable, and like you say, a contrast to each other. Obviously working with a coach, David, they put together that whole package. And it worked nice. It's just now about kicking on with the technical side of things, because everything else she has.
The scores for Avery Wieczorek. Total segment score 67.86. That brings her total to 107.43. She is currently in second place.
So a segment score of 67.87, bringing her to a total of 107.43.
Next to skate from Ice Sheffield,